Live. This is Keith Knapp. I'm going to be taking you guys through a fantastic journey today, and we are going to be talking about 5 tips to growing your business without a personal guarantee. Now, this is one of our favorite topics to talk about because I mean, let's face it, as an entrepreneur, a lot of times we've got things that we want to do and maybe not the best credit sometimes, or even just we want to protect our families. We want to make sure that we're getting the most out of our money, that we're getting the most out of our business, and really working together to build a self-funding business. But getting money without a personal guarantee is not easy. I'll be the first one to tell you that. A lot of times we have this conception that just because we have a business, just because we're making money with the business and everything's set up properly and it looks great, that we're able to just go to a bank and a bank's going to say, yeah, okay, great, here's $500,000, go out and live your best life. But that's not how it works. So we're going to jump into this, but before we get started and before we get too deep into this, throw in the chat. Let me know where you're from. Let me know who's joining me today. Tell me your name. Throw out your company business if you want. Let other people know who you are and network on here. It's a great way to make some connections and meet some new people. And if you have any questions while I'm going through this, feel free to throw them in the chat. They don't even have to be related. I'm more than happy to answer anything I can. Precursor or warning, I am not Ty Crandall, so I'm not the genius behind all of this, but I'm more than happy to jump in and answer what I can and make sure that you're taken care of. So let's dive into the 5 tips to growing your business without a personal guarantee. So before we get into it, the first thing you need to know is that most business loans without a personal guarantee don't happen on a startup or small to medium sized business. So an SMB, the small business, and usually that's anything below the $10 million mark. Once you get to that point, while you're working up to that point, a lot of times what you're going to find is that they're going to want to see a personal guarantee from the owner. And so, as business owners, I mean, let's face it, part of the reason we start a business is because we want that protection there. We want to make sure that, as we're moving through this journey, that we're protecting our families, that we're getting the most out of it. And I mean, that's part of what the American dream is we've been told that this is what we have to do to be able to get there, is have a corporation and let the corporation get the money so you don't have anything coming against you. The other thing that these banks don't talk about and a lot of lenders don't talk about is that they're looking for those companies that are making $10 million in revenue or more. They're looking for the companies that are already very well established. They've got great cash flow. They've got tax returns. They've got all this stuff there, and they're absolutely perfect on paper. And so what happens is, as these businesses are out here marketing for the 7 to 5% of businesses that actually qualify for that kind of funding, the rest of us who are out there grinding and working to start our dreams or working in our dreams to give our families freedom, we see this and we get all excited about it. And then we get into it and we realize it's not quite what I expected. I can't get $500,000 as a startup. I can't get a $10 million startup loan with nothing there to prove it. So how do you go about it? Is it even possible? The first thing I'm going to tell you is, yes, it is possible, but it's not like you're going to be able to go out and you're going to get all this money. It takes a little more strategy. You've got to be more creative. But the first thing is the first tip to this is change your focus. Looking at banks, going to a bank and asking some guy in a suit stuck behind a desk if you can have money to grow your business, he's going to say no. Almost always they're going to say no right out of the gate. And the reason is very simple. And it's not even mind-boggling. It's not even science. It's just risk. A bank is there to make money. And so when a banker's looking at your situation, they're going to assess, if I give this person money, and it doesn't even have to be a substantial amount. It could be 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. But when they're looking at it going, if I give you money, am I going to get that back? What is the likelihood that the bank is actually going to make money on it? And if they feel that they're not going to make money, if they feel that they're not going to make money on it, then you're just kind of stuck. They're going to say no, and then you have to go away. So the first thing you need to do is understand understand what it is that to be looking. So the first place that you want to start, and I covered this on Tuesday, but it's still true today. I mean, it hasn't been that long. But the first thing you need to do is change your focus from banks to focus on business credit first. And the reason you want to do that, this is my first tip, is building your business credit. And the reason is because it's going to get you some traction of getting financing, maybe not a loan, maybe not cash in your hand, but it's going to get you financing to be able to start to be able to get the stuff that you need to actually run your business. As you're getting started in the business credit building journey, you're going to start out with what's called starter vendors. And I want to show you, and today I wanted to take a little bit of time on this because I know Ty and I talk about this quite a bit, but I wanted to actually jump in and show you what that could potentially look like for your business. Give me a second here. Let me share my screen. All right, here we go. So when you're getting started on the business credit journey, and you want to start building business credit, like I said, you can get these. A lot of these are going to have no personal guarantee, but you can see even from the very beginning. So just a little bit of a breakdown of how this is all built out for you, and just so you can understand what you're looking at here. We have this broken down into 7 different steps. Now, this isn't something that's outlined by the business credit bureaus. This isn't something that's just out there. This is something that we use to help you clarify the process. So as I'm talking about this, I want you to understand this isn't something that you're going to be able to go out and go, hey, I need tier 2 vendor accounts, and just every vendor out there and every lender out there is going to go, oh, that's me. This is our way of helping you to digest the business credit building process and giving you a systematic approach. So as you can see, our goal for you, and this is still under tip 1, the goal is to get you to tier 4, to be able to get you to the point where you've got revolving credit without a personal guarantee. But to get there, it's going to take some time. It's going to take about 4 to 6 months, depending on how aggressive you are in your business, in the business credit building process. Now, as you're getting started, the goal for building business credit should always be to be building a portfolio. And what I mean by a portfolio is, I'm going to take an example of, let's say you're a trucking business, and you own a truck, you have trucks, you're out there, you're running jobs, you have all this stuff. Great. How are you going to keep it? How are you going to keep moving? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at, okay, what are some of the companies that I can use? So let's take Uline, for example. Uline may not seem like it would be relevant to a trucking company, but when you start getting into it and you start understanding what Uline actually offers and what they have available, we're going to go to their website here so you can just see a little bit. Packing supplies, tools, coolers aren't really going to do you much good, but there's a ton of products. They've got bags, they've got shipping supplies, but the other side is they've got all sorts of stuff. Office material, protection, retail. So if you have a retail store, this is a tier 1 vendor that you can get set up with just going through your fundability foundation steps and making sure your companies, and you can get all the stuff that you need. Uline's actually a really great resource, being able to get stuff to be able to get your business equipped to sell. It's not going to give you necessarily the products that you need, but like when you're looking at office supplies, office furniture, retail, shelves, bins, things like that, these are paper bags, these are displays, these are things that you're actually going to be able to use inside of the store. So the goal here is, while you're building business credit, is to go through and find these and go, okay, 76, great. Reports to Dun & Bradstreet, requires a personal guarantee. I'm not really interested in that. You can keep looking, you can keep finding them though. So for example, without a personal guarantee, you could look at, where is it? Oh, here it is, Pilot Flying J. This is a very big truck stop. They fuel, you can get fuel, you can get maintenance services, all sorts of things to be able to service your truck. Now you have a credit line that actually offers you fuel. But the goal, while you're going through all of this, is to get your business to a point where you actually have business credit lines that you can start to use. Now, it's going to take you, like I said, it's going to take you about 4 to 6 months to be able to get to the point where you can start to qualify for the fully revolving credit lines to be able to get there. But the power of this, the value of this is pretty simple. If you could go out and you could get fuel for your truck and you could get a job done and then go back and pay it off afterwards, now you're solely operating out of the proceeds of the company, instead of you personally having to go through and front the money, or money that you've acquired from profits. You're not having to use that. It really helps you separate your expenses with the jobs that are coming in, and gives you a more sophisticated, a more advanced way that most ordinary business owners are going to completely miss. And they're going to be running their books dry, and they're going to have a harder time getting approved for financing later, where you can use your business credit to really separate your expenses and your profits, and keep your checking account at a place where it's always looking chunky. It looks good. It's got a lot of depth and a lot of meat to it. So let's get back to the business credit building process, because I want to show you, we're actually in the, Ty is actually finishing up our business credit building challenge right now on with about a thousand of you guys. But I want to show you what it really looks like as you're getting into it. So tier one, you find 2 or 3 accounts that are going to work. You want to make sure they're reporting to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. Get a good mix in there. Move to tier 2, find some other things. You may look at RoadFlex, Office Garner if you need office supplies, GetGo. You can see U.S. Bank. I mean, these are big companies. This is the side of business credit that is the contrast to what's available in personal credit. So as you can see, there's a lot of different options in here. There's a lot of different ways that you can find supplies that actually make sense. If you're a contractor, Home Depot is probably one of the most valuable things that you can use if you're doing HVAC, you're doing construction work, anything like that. Quick Trip. I'm from Kansas City. Quick Trip is just it's the most important fuel station around here, because they've got the best snacks around, honestly. But there's a lot of different ways. So your goal during this phase, while you're on this journey, is to set up a portfolio, to have a portfolio of vendors that you can use. And then by the time that you've gone through tiers 1, 2, and 3, you can jump down here to tier 4. And that's where you can start getting some of the business credit lines that don't have a personal guarantee. Now, before we get too far into this, I believe in complete transparency with you guys. So there's not a ton of business credit cards that you're going to have access to without strong, or even with strong business credit, that don't require a personal guarantee, until your business gets to the point where you're doing at least $2.5 million in gross annual revenue. So $2.5 million, what's that come up to? Comes up to approximately 25,000 to, I can't even do math today, man. It's getting close, $250,000. So yeah, it comes up to about $200,000 a month in revenue. I usually don't do that big of numbers, but 2.5 million, 5 million really opens up things where American Express will start giving you really big credit lines without a personal guarantee. But to do that, it's not just you have the revenue, you have to have the revenue and the credit there. And if you don't have the business credit set up, the personal credit isn't, they're going to rely on your personal credit. They need that third party verification that you pay your bills. That's the other reason that we're building business credit. So you can get the funding that you need without the personal guarantee, and you can build that third party reputation with the credit bureaus that banks and lenders and credit providers want to look for. And along the way, by the time that you get to that point where you can get like a Sam's Club Visa card that you can actually use anywhere as a revolving credit card, by the time you get to that point, you're also unlocking things like vehicle purchases. So if you need a truck to get back and forth, if you need a Sprinter van, if you're running deliveries, you can buy Sprinter vans with no personal guarantee. I mean, there's just a lot of value and benefit into it. Again, it's not going to give you that cash in your pocket that you're looking for to go do whatever you want to do. Do whatever you want to do with it, but it is going to give you that ability to be able to be creative, to find ways to improve your cash flow, to give you more opportunities for earning earning revenue. Now let's talk about option number two. Option number two is if you really, if you want to get that just cash in hand type of business loan without a personal guarantee, there is one thing that you can do. Actually, there's two things that you can do, but for this point, there's only one thing that you can do right now that will help, and that's investing into assets that can secure a business loan. What do you mean by assets? Great question. Assets are talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, 401ks, equipment, invoices, if you want to do invoice factoring. The reason that we're talking about secured financing is that it offsets the risk to lenders. So if you go to a lender and you go, hey, I've got about $100,000 in bonds. I want to get $50,000 to be able to take out a business. They're going to secure $50,000 of the bonds that you have invested, give you a line of credit or even a term loan that you can get that's going to be deposited. You'll make your payments on it and basically repay the loan. But the reason that they're not going to be as concerned about a personal guarantee is because they've already got it secured. If you default on a $50,000 loan and it's secured by $100,000, they're going to be the banks know they're going to be able to recoup their money on it. So it's not a risky investment for them. But a lot of times, as a small business, having those assets in the company name takes time to build. But one of the best things that you can do is start investing in those assets instead of just having money sitting out there. Look at stocks, look at bonds, look at safe investments, mutual funds, things like that. Talk to a financial planner. Start setting that up as a way that your company is making money on the money that you already have, on the money that you're earning. Have it make it a return for you, and you could use that to secure financing in the future. So again, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, equipment, invoices is another one. So I touched on that briefly, but invoice factoring is a great way because an invoice is money that you've already earned. So basically, invoices fall a little more under kind of the cash flow financing option because these are services that you've already performed that you're waiting to collect on. With invoice factoring, you can go to a bank or you can go to an invoice lender and go, hey, I've got $100,000 worth of invoices. I need an advance on them. Or there's even options where you can say, like, I consistently do $100,000 a month in invoices, but I've got $25,000 over here that we haven't collected on, or 20,000, whatever the number actually is. You can actually sell those invoices that aren't performing, and they'll collect on those and give you a loan on them, and then they'll collect and they'll just keep the money from there. There's some great options with that, and a lot of those aren't going to require a personal guarantee. Not all of them, but a lot of them are not going to require a personal guarantee. You just have to know where you're looking. So that's option. I think I missed a step, or I may have misnumbered, but I actually have that as number 3. So let's jump into the next one. Number 4 is the ROBS 401k, the 401k ROBS program. Now, the 401k ROBS program is unlike any other business financing that you've dealt with. And the reason is because you're actually using an old 401k plan that you have to be able to invest into your business. What ROBS stand for, ROBS, is it's a rollover business. Man, I forgot the name. I'm having a day here, guys. Sorry about that. It's a rollover business strategy plan. It's a rollover business account, and basically what you're doing is you're going out and you're going to take one of your old 401ks. It can't be an active one. So if you're working a 9-to-5 W-2 job, you're investing into your 401k plan. That's not what they're going to be looking for. What they're looking for is a 401k plan that is no longer active. You're no longer contributing to. So let's say you've got an old 401k that's just sitting out there not doing anything. You can actually go to the bank, or you can invest in the 401k ROBS program. Take that 401k and actually move it under your corporation. And now your corporation is controlling the money for that 401k. Now, put 2 and 2 together. If you are the business owner, if your business is investing your money from your 401k, that gives you that access to your money right then and there. There's no personal guarantee because there's no loan. There's no income requirement because there's no loan. There's no asset requirements because there's no loan. You're moving the servicing of that 401k from your previous employer or your previous company that you were working with to your corporation, your business. Again, that's called the 401k ROBS program. I'll throw it in the chat for you guys here. 401k ROBS. which is a great way. It's a great option to be able to fund your business. Again, no personal guarantee. It's not actually technically a loan. It's using assets that are sitting out there that you have available to get the funding that you need to grow your business. So that's four that we've covered. And I'll recap them because I figured out where I messed up on my numbering. First one is using small term business credit lines. The small term business credit lines are going to be like vendor accounts with net 30s, net 15s, maybe even net 60, net 90 accounts. Second step in that process, number two, is business credit lines that are actually fully revolving. These are going to be like American Express business credit cards. These are going to be credit cards that you know of. Number three is secured financing with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, equipment, things like that. Number four is the 401k ROBS program, which we just covered. And number five, and this is one that most people don't know about, and this is one that most people don't think about, but it's actually merchant cash advances companies and different cash flow financing options. The secret behind this, though, is that it takes time to build the relationship with them. So while you're getting started, yes, you may have a personal guarantee up front on a merchant cash advance. You may go to you may find an MCA and go, hey, let's get started with this. They're going to charge you some points up front. They're going to make a pretty hefty interest rate on you because it is an alternative. It is alternative lending, but they don't really care about your personal credit. They don't care about your personal credit scores. There's a lot of stuff a lot of benefits to this. But it's going to give you a loan. It's going to give you money based off of how much that you're running through your merchant account. The thing about MCAs is the more that you work with the lender, the more that you're building that relationship, the more that you're building that trust with them, the more options open up. And it gets to a point, there are companies out there, and this is actually an incredibly common practice for a lot of the larger corporations, where they're constantly using MCAs. They just auto renew monthly for them. And the reason they're doing that is because now they're able to get access to the financing that the money that they need. They're basically just taking an advance out on what they know they're already going to run for the month, and basically almost doubling their access to cash. But the more you build relationships with lenders like this, the more that you're working with them, the more flexible they're going to be. And the reason is because a lot of the MCAs, a lot of these cash flow financing options, they're not actually working with banks. They're working with private money. So they're setting their own terms. They may have millions of dollars in a credit line that they're able to pull from, or they've got different strategies for funding it. But what they're doing is since they're not actually adhering to the bank's terms and guidelines, they're able to go through and set up these exceptions. They're able to set the terms of the relationship to be able to work with them. So how do you get that? There's one question that you need to ask is, how do I work with you to get to the point where it's not going to require a personal guarantee to be able to get financing with you? And when you start talking to a lender in that kind of terms, their ears perk up. The reason is because they're no longer looking at you as a transaction. Now they're looking at you as a relationship, because it's just like in a lot of different business types. If you can go out and you can get one customer, that's amazing. That's wonderful. But if you can get a customer that's going to come back to you month after month after month and keep buying, that's Disney. That's your ultimate goal. That's what you're trying to accomplish. So what you're doing is you're going to a lender and going, hey, I want to get started with you on this. And I want to build this type of something that you offer. So the MCA, I saved that one for last because that's not something that a lot of people are even talking about. It's not an option that a lot of lenders are even advertising. But that's why you're here, is because you want to know how to be better than what the average business owners are doing out there. So let's break this down. Again, these are the 5 tips to growing your business without a personal guarantee. Number 1, business credit. Start with the small accounts. Start with vendor accounts. Work your way up. Build. Get to number 2. Number 2 is you start getting business credit lines like American Express. You start getting bank-backed credit cards, business credit cards that don't require a personal guarantee, and you work to be building your revenue to be able to get there. Number 3, use assets, build assets, get to the point where you've got some collateral that you can use to secure a business loan. Number 4, look for old 401ks that you have sitting out there. Use the ROBS program, put it under your own corporation, get the money, get your money that you've already invested back to you. And again, one of the things I didn't touch on about the ROBS program is that money is actually tax-free because of the structure. It's going from a corporation to a corporation. It's not taxable income to you at that point because you're not using it for personal purposes. You're using it for the business. And so that's number 4. Number 5, the one we just covered, is merchant cash advances. Build relationships with these alternative lenders. The more, at the end of the day, guys, the one thing that you need to understand, the more that banks trust you, the more likely they're going to open up their checkbooks. The more that lenders get to know you, they can trust you, they don't have to guess on whether or not you're going to pay your bills, the more benefits you're going to get from those relationships. And the better relationships that you can have with local banks, the more relationships that you can have with lenders, even if they're alternative, the more that you do that, the more value and benefit it's going to bring to you, and to be working towards that. So those are my 5 tips. But that's what I got for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, if you need help for if you need help on your journey, schedule a free business financing assessment. What we do is we sit down with you and we look at your full situation. We'll sit down with you. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up my stuff here and be fancy, and it's not working. Man, I can't find all my buttons here. They all went away. But what we do, with you is we help you find. We'll sit down with you. We'll help you find the funding that you're looking for. We'll do an assessment with you, understand what it is that you're looking for, help you find the right lenders, help you build business credit, give you all the tools and resources that you need to be able to get there. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're the expert in your industry. But that's why you come to people like Credit Suite. That's why you come to us, is because you need to know what are the options that you have available. What can you find? What can we show you that you don't know, that you haven't figured out yet? And if you'd like to talk with us, again, you can schedule a free business financing assessment, or you can visit us online at creditsuite.com/consult. The first one I put up there takes you to a link. We call it our FBQ, which basically just lets us look at, you give us a little bit of information about your company. We'll tell you what financing you're qualified for no cost. It's very simple. Takes 60 seconds, 120 seconds, 2 minutes worth of your day. Very easy to get in, get going with it. But if you need help, if you want to sit down and talk with us, get a hold of us, creditsuite.com/consult, or you can scan the QR code right here and check out and schedule a time that we can that you could talk with us. Or you can always just give us a call at 877-600-2487, or visit us online at creditsuite.com. All right, appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. As always, you guys are rock stars. You're awesome. Go out there and kick some butt, take some names, and hope you guys make $1 million this week. And we will